Hi, it's Tuesday. We're back from spring break. And I know you've been working on that second essay daily. Maybe not. Anyway, I just wanted to say, okay, now on this essay, I'm going to give you a grade, but I'm going to create a group um, feedback loop where I'm going to take excerpts. Like if you make a little mistake, gotcha. No, it's not like that. I just want to be able to initiate a response in you where you start looking in your essays to where it's working out and where it's not, so that it isn't just you're waiting for me to say, because the whole point of this is for you to be able to determine. The other thing is in P is for positivity. I snuck that in at the last minute. It's been there all along, but because that one is one that can kind of pep you up, but it can also be used if you couldn't figure out which text to tie which other text to. It's one that works quite well. The other thing is one student gave such a great answer that I'm going to send it to you on why the negativity bias is so much stronger than the positivity bias. And that has to do with evolution, according to some experts. And that was in the podcast that I put on the assignment. And one student listened to it and really encapsulated it great. It has to do with if you miss a negative, like, oh, the berries are poisonous, the price is death. Whereas if you miss, kudos to you, you look good today. Well, not as important as the poison berries. So that gives you some sort of basis for why that might be so, and helps you sort of hang on to the concept there. A couple of people didn't quite get the concept. Gain and loss frame are not simply gain and loss, but it means that it depends on how and when you hear news and how it is framed. It has an influence on our decision making, as it turns out. Okay. Anyway, so we're doing the next essay, and just remember the instructions are your friends. And when you do something that's really off of the instructions, off base, like if you suddenly give me a works cited that says references on top, it tells me that maybe you haven't really glanced over at the instructions. And, online is tricky for a lot of people, but if you can just, I don't know if hopefully you're able to do it on some kind of computer screen, or you can open up Windows at the same time so that you can look at the instructions, the examples as you go through and write your essay, because there's lots of examples. And when I read something that is, way off, I'm so curious as to what your relationship to the instructions is, because they've been very painstakingly thought out to give you all the tools you need. And it breaks my heart if you're not going to use the tools. But, it'd be interesting for me if you have something to say about that. If you're doing it on your phone, I can see how that would be more difficult. But anyway, the people who are really paying attention to the instructions are doing very well. I've answered a couple of questions. So remember to look also at the rubric, which tells you on a scale of 1 to 6, all the things that need to be happening. MLA is in full effect. And you can see in the excerpt that I'm sending you, along with this video, that Diana has really encapsulated how you cite the authors of studies or podcasts or whatever it is, and then you select out the most salient, the most perfectly appropriate quotes to make your point. Don't get sloppy with the quoting, only that which serves your point. This is all a logical sequencing of ideas, and the quotes are there to serve, provided you've understood the text completely. Okay, so I think a couple of people have turned in their essays already, and they were super. So I think somebody did P is for positivity and the 3 A's of awesome. There you go. That was a slam dunk choice, and it worked out pretty well. All right, and then some of it is technical, and you got to understand MLA and punctuation, all that. But mostly keep in mind logical sequencing and citation. You have to cite where you're getting these ideas. It's not just a general, things are this way because I think that. That's the opposite of what this is. So proceed. Welcome back. Can you believe it? Spring break's over. We barely caught our breath. All right, so carry on. And Remember, this time I'm going to refrain from making a lot of comments on your essays, but I'll have a group feedback, and hopefully you can make your way as your own editor, which is I'm trying to pass the baton to you. All right, because that's how you can learn to revise yourself. Reading out loud is a great idea. Rereading your work before you turn it in. That is essential. And people who are good at this just get faster and faster at doing exactly that. People who have a lot of, what do I want to say? Negativity frames about school, they tend to write it and turn it in. I don't want to see it anymore. Whereas actually rereading what you've written usually helps you find a million ways to make it a little bit better. So that's just a fact. So that's a positivity bias that I have for making your work positive. Okay, so let's go. Let's get cracking on this second one. And then after that, we start work on the research paper, which we do in 2 parts. And those are, discussion paragraphs, and we still want your examples in there. And that, I'm going to be opening up all of that soon enough after this second essay, so you can get started on that. I know that sounds great news. I think that might be a negativity frame for some of you, but we will do it. We will survive it, and we will excel. Okay, I'm running off the rails. All right, good luck, and get that second essay in, and on we go.